Hello and welcome to Equivalent Equations. This is Chapter 1, Lesson 5 from the Nelson Math Focused textbook, and I'm Mr. Berko. Let's get started. This lesson is totally important. It's very, very important, so I really want you to ask me questions if you don't understand it. Our goal today is to model and create equivalent equations, and we don't have a lot of time and a lot of content, so let's get moving. How can you model and create new equations with the same solution as 2n equals 8? Well, as you remember, that's an equation, and we're going to take a look at some ways that we can do this. You have to understand, first of all, that this is a balancing scale, and in the olden days they used this to measure things, the weight of things. And so if you drop something on this side, then this side will go up. And same thing, if you drop something on this side, then this side will go up because this side would be heavier. But if you put something on both sides that's the same weight, they'll be balanced, just like this scale actually is, totally balanced. So Samara puts two bags with linking cubes in them. Each bag has the same amount of linking cubes, but she doesn't tell us how much are in each bag. Then she puts 4 and 4 linking cubes on the other side, so she puts 8 linking cubes. And because these two have the same weight, then they balance out. Just assume the bags have no weight, but the contents of the bag do. She writes an expression to represent this equation, and it is 2n equals 8. Okay, so 2 n's, 2 of those bags, and 8 linking cubes. Now, Oleh comes along and he adds 4 onto each side, as you can see, and he writes an expression, 2n plus 4. Now, he can't add the 2 plus 4 because this is like apples and this is like oranges. This is multiplication and this is addition, so he's going to have to keep it like that. But apples and apples can be added, so 8 plus 4 equals 12. Like I said, that stays the same. So what happens is he's got 2n plus 4 equals 12 and 2n equals 8, and because he started with this expression and got to this one here, then he can call these equivalent equations. Here comes Leah, and she decides to multiply both sides by 2. So we had 2 bags, we multiplied 2 by 2, it becomes 4 bags, and 8 linking cubes by 2 equals 16. So she's multiplying by 2 here, multiplying by 2, 4n, because these are oranges, both of them, so you can multiply them. 2 times 2 equals 4, and 2 times 8 equals 16. And so the same thing, these two equations are equivalent. Your turn. I want you to tell me how many cubes are in each bag. You're going to have to go back to the beginning and then take a look at that first one, and you can figure out how many cubes are in each bag. Pause the presentation and go give it a shot. Alright, welcome back. Let's see if you're right. So you noticed here that you have 8, and I divided these into 2 groups for you, and that's kind of a clue, because you have 2 bags over here, and I told you there's the same amount in each bag. So you'd be right if you were to assume that there was 4 in each bag. N equals 4, in other words. This bag is full of 4 linking cubes. But here's another way that you can do it. If you divided both sides by 2, then you would find the answer. Now the reason why we divide by 2 is because this is a multiplication, and so kind of the opposite of multiplication is division. So divide 2n by 2, that gives you 1n. If you divide 8 by 2, that gives you 4. And 1n doesn't have to be written 1n, you can just write n. So therefore n equals 4, same answer. For more complicated ones, we're going to use this method. How can you show that Oleh's equation and Leah's equation have the same solution? Well, you can do this by replacing all the n's in each equation with a 4. So 2 times 4 equals 8, so 8 equals 8. We know that this is a good equation. 2n plus 4 equals 12. 2 times 4 plus 4 equals 12. 8 plus 4 equals 12. And 12 equals 12. So we know that this is also equivalent with this one because 4 balances it out. Tell me how you would find out what the answer would be here if you replace this n with 4. Pause the presentation and go ahead. Welcome back. So hopefully you just went 4 times 4 equals 16, 16 equals 16, and you found that these are all equivalent. Now if you subtract 1 from both sides, you will still have an equivalent equation. And if you divide both sides by 2, you still have an equivalent equation. The key is you do the same thing to both sides, you get an equivalent equation, and you just have to keep that in mind. You can't do it on one side and not on the other side. Thanks for joining me.